Is your family impacted by autism and you don't really know what to do? Well, I've got Anselma here. She's the director of the Social Mind Center, and we are going to give you some practical tools to help you build a stronger family. Coming up. All right, hey guys. April is Autism Awareness Month, and when I saw that, I thought of my good friend Anselma. She is a specialist in working with people with autism, and she's informed me that it's not so much about autism awareness, but we're moving towards autism acceptance. And so I thought, I've got to drive all the way down here to South Florida, and I got to interview her so that we can help you build stronger families when autism impacts your family. So I want to thank you for being here with me
You're welcome.
this afternoon.
It's my pleasure.
Awesome.
My pleasure.
Autism impacts more families really than ever.
Yes. Yes.
And I want to ask you, what are the top 3 strategies for parenting when autism is impacting your family?
Yes. So I'll start off for individuals that are new to autism and may have not heard of it or have, but don't exactly know what it is. Autism is a neurodevelopmental disorder. And what that means is that it impacts certain skills in a child. And autism specifically impacts language, social communication, and flexibility is one of the things, because they tend to have repetitive and restrictive behaviors.
So tell me how it impacts their language.
The tricky thing about autism is these 3 variables come in different combinations for different kids, right? So it can impact a child, their language, severely in that they may not be able to speak or use words or communicate. And then there are children that can speak and can communicate, have plenty of language, right? So there's a range that it can impact, but it impacts their ability to acquire language like typical children would. So it's going to impact their language acquisition either mildly or extremely.
So as a parent is discovering this, how can they work with their child who may be having these difficulties with their language?
Well, one of the most important individuals for a child on the autism spectrum would be your speech and language pathologist.
Okay.
Because they understand how language develops and what it should look like for different ages. So if you go to a speech and language pathologist, they can evaluate your child, even if you had an evaluation for autism by a neurologist or a psychologist. The speech and language pathologist will give you a detailed profile of this is what your child needs for their speech and language to develop. Okay? So it's like a little instruction manual, and they will walk through that with you and teach you and show you how you can help your child in instructing them outside of those sessions.
So step 1 would be getting a language evaluation from a speech pathologist.
Yes, a speech and language pathologist.
Awesome.
Yes.
Okay. So tell me about the second one that you mentioned where they have an issue with social communication.
Social communication is very closely tied to language, right? Social communication requires social language, and social language are the words that you and I are using right now to communicate. And children on the autism spectrum don't always have those words to say. They might have hi, say hi to their friend, but then kind of what comes after the hi, they don't have. Right. So we need to give them those words.
Right. Okay. So if somebody is discovering that they have this social communication issue with their kid and they're noticing that their kid has autism, what is one strategy that they can use in interacting with their child?
Well, it's so important for children on the autism spectrum to have the opportunity to socialize, because there's so many misconceptions about children on the spectrum that they do not want to socialize. And the reality is that they do. They want to make friends. They want to socialize. They just don't always know how to. So the best approach is to give them the opportunities to do so and expose them to social opportunities. Of course, and alongside that, again, you have the language piece. They need the words in those situations. But if they don't get the opportunity to practice, they're not going to be able to acquire those opportunities to communicate socially.
Right. So being a youth pastor for so many years, I've had a lot of kids come through the youth group that have autism. And I've seen parents that kind of want to back off a little bit sometimes because it can get difficult. And so you're saying that they should continue and continue to bring their kids around.
A great thing to do as a family is, for example, if you're going to church or any place, is find a buddy. Find somebody that your child can be supported and encouraged, but never not allow them to go to these experiences.
Great.
They may need require support, but it could be a friend, it could be a cousin. But it's so important that they have the opportunities to socialize and to see and engage in community activities.
Great. So tell me about the third strategy for parenting a child with autism. You talked about having flexibility.
Yes, and that's two-part. The parent being flexible and the child being helped to be more flexible. Children on the spectrum tend to have restrictive behaviors and repetitive behaviors, and a huge part of that is that they want order and they're trying to organize their world. So because the child has difficulty in this area, it's going to require the parent to be much more flexible and find multiple ways to help their child expand and expose them to new patterns of behavior. But if the parent is inflexible and they're like, no, we have to go at this time at 8 o'clock, and your child is going to have a harder time to flex than you are. So it's kind of like a huge part of the family dynamic that there's going to have to be a lot of flexibility within your expectations for success.
Well, this is awesome stuff, Anna. Thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much. If you're getting value out of this video, I want to ask you to give me a thumbs up, give me a like, and that really helps the channel get out there more. Or if you could subscribe to the channel so that it'll help us to make more videos like this. As well, if you know somebody who's a parent or if their family is impacted by autism, share the video because there's so many people out there that need practical tools for engaging their children with parenting. So if you'd like more information about autism or parenting children with autism, tell us how they can reach out to you.
You can contact me through my website, which is www.socialmindcenter.com.
Okay.
And there's actually a consult button on there, and you can just press consult, and I get the message, and you can share with me whatever you'd like, and I can schedule a time to speak with you.
Awesome.
That's the best way to reach me.
And don't you have a podcast as well?
I do have a podcast, and it is called The Different Skill Notebook, and it is available on Podbean, Spotify, and iTunes.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome.
Thank you guys for watching till the end, and we'll see you next time.